Well, this is live out there. I am and this is Julie. There we go. And Julie has just written the story, and I'm first responder to it. And so you can read it. They'll put a link probably to it once it's up online, if it ever gets there. And Julie can see and witness my experience and response to it as I read. If I put it like this, then you can have it over here so that you can
actually
see it. Because otherwise, it won't have either of us, which is like defeats the purpose of this video thing.
Right.
So the scrubbing noise, that was just Julie in the background, just doing a little shuffle, there for our hard of hearing. No, just to practice your hearing. All right. Right, Julie, we're looking at this, the choice that remains to be made. Okay, we're going to hide us so we don't mute ourselves. No, do that. If anybody does chat, we'll be able to see something, I think, top chat.
Okay.
Not that everybody ever will come across this live. Oh, we've got the machine farting around in the background. That's a wood pellet machine thing. That's fine, Julie. Okay, so this is it. The choice that remained to be made. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Nice, short, punchy title.
Okay, this is a continuation of a narrative that I began. It was Talking Trees, and then it was it Pathways? Divergent Pathways or something?
Yes, it was.
Between these characters, and used it as a meta text for me and Julie. And now we're continuing with this bit that Julie has written and produced 4 different versions and spent all day on. And here's my first reading. Are we good?
Yes.
Good. Right. I would like to have music in the background, but we can't get YouTube to work properly with those things. No sound in the background, sadly, folks. You're right, it's quite abstract. I don't think anybody else is going to read that and understand anything, but it's good for a reflexive reader because then it's just referring to their own experience, of whatever it is, of paths that they've been on and so on and so forth. But there's no information provided apart from some being slippy and some not. So for me, I was thinking about rocks and this, that, and the next thing. Not a path, but just different surfaces. But I don't know what a reader will do because there's not enough. Barely visible. Is that okay? Did you use the story to stick it in the project?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, there we go. We're using Claude. Oh, well, good. Well, ritual sequence, that's good. Maybe it did. Okay, this is a repetition of what was just said.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Okay.
So we don't need that. Can we just do that? Can I just edit that out?
Yeah.
And just put what if?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can go delete these. Okay, I should see that. Okay.
I gave it several options in terms of grit. So I just had to make something up that happened. It was a little bit dramatic. I said, I need some drama at the start. Can you choose one of these? And I chose that one. So I said, something happens to either one of us.
Sorry, are you adding this or is that going to be revealed?
Sorry?
Are you adding this now or is this going to be revealed?
This is why I've got the introduction of this.
Okay, what you're about to say, is it in the story?
I guess.
Okay, so I'll keep on reading.
Okay.
It's way too much explanation and exposition. I got rid of it.
Yes, it's too wordy. I haven't done that part so far. That's stage 5. And I'm not really a mistress of conversation. I'm a mistress of description, so it will take me some time to work through to understand the dynamic. And the backwards and forwards.
Let's go ahead. No, it's not correct. From his hand, a small, smooth, smooth, it's unusual, crystal. One or two.
If you want to change the ghastly crystal to stone, close dippings around the stone.
Small, serrated. Oh, you know, crystal, in fact, it's kind of creamy. What is it? Rough. It's serrated.
Serrated means like cut with a knife, doesn't it, to create its jagged edge. Or a serrated knife has these points to it.
Jagged.
It's too wordy as well. Let's change stone again. Just there.
It's the drama. Yeah, I mean, it's just too kind of like obvious. That's the thing. It's explicating everything rather than allowing the reader to kind of like piece together. There's not enough mystery. It's useful to have a bit of mystery, which is revealed in action somehow. Whereas it just tends to just explain everything.
Yeah. I think part of it was a lot of conversations were quite wordy anyway, and then when I amalgamated them by hand rather than getting Claude to do it, it just became like 3 very wordy conversations into one very, very wordy conversation.
Okay.
So
if it was, for example, that, you know, something happened, we don't know what it is. And then she pops back out, and then they go forwards and say, "Oh, I'm ready to go forwards." No, what's that? You reveal at some point or something.
So we don't get to see absolutely everything.
We don't see it.
Yes.
And it's only when certain things happen that things change. And why do they change? It's because how she is different. And then she can say the right thing at the right time.
Sounds good.
That means it's going to be more revealed, not in this story. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Can I continue? It's got to be another word of conversation, isn't it?
I don't think it's as much as that one. It's,
You see, that's the explanation. So we didn't need the first explanation, now we've got the second explanation.
Yeah, I know. So it's quite hard to keep track of as well, when you're kind of merging them. It's quite hard to keep track of which, where's what, in effect. I did find it repeated itself a lot as well in places, like at the end, so it's the same thing in 3 different ways. I know I don't mean the same thing.
Yeah, you're something very disciplined. But I find editing trickier. So it's like, it's more in the specification. Do not reveal this. Do not do that. You should be specifying that.
Oh, right. I've not done that actually.
Set it up as a dramatic potential in the future. Make a note in the chat, but just don't reveal it in the actual narrative.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because I haven't really appreciated its capacity to go off on that. So I tend just to give it pointers, and then, as I said, just the start and the start here. It was quite an essay, as you say. It was at least 3 or 4 paragraphs. But I didn't say what I didn't want it to do, which is why I've come to this now, which is a piece that...
It does go on.
Yeah.
You definitely need to cut this.
Yeah, elements of it, are things that I wanted it to bring out, but there are elements of it that are not my choosing. And stylistically, it is very wordy and also very conversational based, which is not my style of writing. And obviously I gave it your style of writing, it's fitted in with that, which is fine, but I think conversation is an art in itself. So it does become, it's meaningful, not meaningless. And as you said, there's enough given, but not everything revealed.
Yeah, and it's basically just repeating all the stuff that's in the story, which even happened before the evil to the dark side.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's no certainty.
I wanted some connection between the two, so I did ask it to connect certain ideas and not to lose them. But the issue with that is, rather than just kind of a connection, it's kind of ad-libbed. It's come on about them too much. Rather than just I wanted like corner note, or whatever they're called. Like there to be some overlap, some resonance between the two, so not seen as too distinct. But yeah, I didn't need to go on about it.
You definitely want to. The other day when we were going through the difficulty, we were doing science basically, I was thinking, quite nice just to describe a story. It's just description of what a person does, not particularly floral description, but just action oriented. And you just don't enter the person's head. And it reminds me of this series called Ripley, which you haven't seen yet. And Ripley has and it's just looking at personal reactions.
Wow.
Oh, it's just like
there's no sound, there's no conversation,
black and white.
There's no
hardly any conversation. There's a bit of conversation when you meet people, and you're kind of going, okay, you can see what he's trying to do, and then you see him thinking about things. And quite often you see him just sitting about.
So it's an observational narrative.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know anything like that.
It is
like almost a silent movie in effect.
Yeah, there's a hell of a lot of just watching this person's walk about doing whatever it is he's doing. And anyway, so you have to piece it together and to see it unfold. It's very well done. It's incredible.
Sounds good.
Well, yeah, so that's what I was thinking. So it's like the opposite of this.
It's not all description. This bit's a description. So as I said, it's not I'm not entirely satisfied with it. It has elements that I wanted in it, and it's got elements that I didn't ask for, and it's got a lot of words that I didn't have in mind. And it took me 3 attempts before I even tried to not make the 3 different stories. So I just found it a little bit of a daunting task to try and evaluate and pick out and amalgamate and sequentialize.
Yeah.
Something as even little grey cells today. But you know.
Okay, so yeah, you added grit, yeah, between them, as it were. I think the trick is to give them a challenge so that you can see whether that integration has occurred or whether they're not.
The issue with that would be it would come later in the story, so you wouldn't get start. So I was trying to do something at start.
Yeah. Okay, so it's definitely a direction. So remaining in the dark side. What do you think about the possibility that it's all the readers?
It's all of the readers' dark side.
The dark side is the exploration of the pre-conscious of all the readers.
Mm-hmm.
You know that?
I haven't thought about that.
That's an aspect of the fractal chambers, calculation chambers. It's just going in all different directions because it's all different readers.
Mm. Very cool idea.
Yeah. So you've gone for the integration idea. You think of it as hunky-dory. Fun enough.
That's the bit you'd hate, you see, which I knew. But well, I didn't go for the hunky-dory aspect. I didn't. Did I go for the integration idea?
I would like to leave it more uncertain because then the adventure is, okay, so what are they going to do when they go to Sunside and they start encountering things? That's the test. That is the actual test of it, not the test of the paths. That's just a simulation in their minds. So
I did say to Claude to leave it on this idea of success or failure, but it literally put success or failure, and I wanted it more that it was a kind of suspense that you didn't know how it was all going to work out in the end. So I didn't want the kind of everything's hunky-dory ending. I mean, the one where I've extrapolated parts from was even rosier. Imagine it's not even rosier than this. And I think again it tends to default into that often.
yeah.
It does that very, very
it's trying to be helpful, it's trying to be nice, it's trying to synthesize and be lovely. It all ends up nicely, all this good stuff. That's what it tends to do. You've got to work to avoid that.
So I wasn't, as I say, it took me literally rather than I was trying to say that at the end. And then also leaves it open to the story. I didn't quite do that. So as I said, there are parts of it that I know.
Okay. Well, what the point about this between the two of us, that you're trying to communicate that it's possible to kind of synthesize you one with the other. You think it's the tree first, you see. You can see the
Again,
tree
you're
first.
alive.
The point is you went off, so I was like, oh, okay, fine. Never mind. But now you have to, oh, you know, come on to this one. Remember, it's just a simulation, so I don't know how much we actually have to do all that. But it's definitely. There's nothing added to it. It's like it's like it's a bit like well, it's not quite because Stranger Things, you know, the second thing.
It's
And
using the
doesn't
same
really
ideas.
change very much. Okay, it's got a couple of new characters, but quite frankly, not really much has happened. Doesn't move things along. There's no extra bits to it. It's just the same stuff. They're talking about the same things, and so it's just slightly different. That's the issue.
I mean, I've not done something like this before. You continue someone else's story, their original story. So there's an element of me that when I was making those notes, it's kind of extrapolated parts I wanted to keep. The problem with that is you end up with the wrong list of notes, and which ones do you remove? And that's that idea is instead of having some kind of touch base that doesn't feel removed from it, it feels part of it. So it's a little bit of an experiment, really, to see how that process works. And then because I'd written such a lot to Claude, it wouldn't accept it all. So I had to break it into 3 sections. So version 1 is based on section 1, version 1 I wanted it to do. Then version 2 is based on section 2, what I wanted to do. Now I wanted it to do it as a complete, you know, take it all in and do it as a complete thing, but it just couldn't cope with it.
Wow, that's really good in as a prompt. Wow, I mean, I've done quite a lot of prompts, they're fine.
No, I even halved it, it wouldn't accept it.
Wow.
So yes, the kind of the my envisioning of what the elements I wanted to keep, and then the elements that I wanted to develop, and then Claude's capacity to take that as a whole, defied.
Well, it's a learning process of what the tool can do currently.
And then and then from that it was trying to take the best bit.
Right. Well, look, no thumbs up, no viewers, absolutely no chat. But then again, you know, such is life. Right. Okay. Thanks so much for that. All right. Anything useful?
If you're using Claude to do something like this, don't type so much.
Don't type so much. Is there anything that you want to see if you ever watch this in the future? So, reading, go back. Have you just read that? Yeah. What do you think? Okay. How long does it take, and does it move the story along based on where the story has evolved to? Okay. Both in terms of Tipple and Zah, but also in terms of David and Julie. Okay. And so, you know, the 2 relative stories, and just think about your narrative. And go, we should have pursued that one. I was right. Or it's like, that's a bit weird. So what do you think? Do you want to speak to yourself in the future, Julie?
It's really weird. What would I say to my future self? Just go for it. Don't worry so much. Don't follow your thoughts. Just treat them like flags. Recognize that when you're continuing stories, you don't need to use everything, just use certain parts, and then create something new and beautiful.
So that's very nice. But the problem is that your person in the future already knows this. Okay, so that's the beautiful thing about communicating with yourself in the future is they already know, because they've already been here. And so, I don't know how useful it is.
Don't get old before your time. a good one. I might not know that.
So get old before you die. That's quite a tricky one. Then.
Yeah.
That's quite a tricky one. It's okay. So your future self will have gone through various things. So watching this, a little snapshot, but we've got lots of snapshots. Trying to make this functional, so that seems to have died. Yeah, it's unstable. Thanks for telling us that. How useful. So, what is the point of this? What is the point of the narrative? We're saying a lot, but basically, you're saying, let's do both. Let's do one, then the other. Oh, yeah. As I suggested, but you've done it kind of in reverse order. It's interesting. You feel as if you kind of overcome them. You're definitely your path. It's interesting, isn't it? I was trying to set up a paradox and basically saying that it's impossible. Okay? And you want a solution.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay, there we go. That's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. Do we find one? Let's find out. All right then. Are we good?
Yes.
No. Ciao.
Ciao.